Welcome back. I hope everyone is doing well. If you can hear me, can you please type a one in chat? Because I'm using a new mic setup and I don't know if it's working. And please let me know if I'm screaming. I hope it is not screaming. Is it too loud? Or is it too quiet? It's very weird, like I can't hear myself. So it's kind of different. It sounds good. Sounds good. Okay. Welcome back. So I did put up, look at this cute little background I found. Domestic violence and our mental health. Yes, yes, yes. So, um, this is a follow-up to, day before yesterday's, live, and it was about health and wellness and what we're doing to heal ourselves, and so, um and anyone is welcome up on stream if I can figure out how to drop the link again. We'll see if I can remember. Um, so it's about how we take care of ourselves and how we're taking care of our mental health, our physical health, because with domestic violence, a lot of times we end up not taking care of our physical health along with our mental health. Ghost Walks, welcome, welcome. Copy the StreamYard URL. Okay, hold on. Just 1 second. I got to figure this out. Oh, oh. Yay, I figured it out. I think I did it. I think I did. Um, so yes, so today it's a follow-up from day before yesterday, or yes, there I should say yesterday morning at the wee hours of the morning. Um, so if anybody has any questions or they have ideas on how to do self-healing, you're more than welcome to come on up and share or even type it in chat and I can share it out of chat. So let me say hi to Storm Rush WX. It's good to see you. And Ghost Walks, it's good to see you. We have a few in the bushes watching, I guess, today. So I'm going to go over some healthy ways of taking care of your mental health. And I believe I kind of went over it yesterday where, I was like, we're allowed to have boundaries. And by us having boundaries helps protect yourself and the other person. So this is going to be the self-care tips for survivors of intimate partner violence. The trauma of intimate partner violence leaves deep and emotional psychological wounds that can last long after the abuse has ended. And anyone who has been in a domestic violence situation kind of knows that. Like, it's not something that just goes away after you're out of the relationship. It stays with you for a long time, if not sometimes forever. You can also get post-traumatic stress. You can get CPTSD. Let me welcome up. Are you
Hi,
there?
I'm here.
There you are. I
Oh, hi.
PTR.
What are you doing with your life?
I'm trying to get through this without, being too extremely late, but I think I got the new mic working, so I don't have the big
Hmm?
bulky mic in front of me anymore. I just had to figure out the whole hearing part of it.
Well, you did good. Clever girl.
I wasn't sure if I was going to figure it out for a minute. I was kind of worried.
You gotta have faith in yourself.
I'm trying. So, would you like to share on how you dealt with um, healing yourself after you left your abusive relationship?
just went back to the things that made me happy, that I wasn't allowed to be happy with, or I wasn't good enough at to be, allowed to enjoy them. So, like, I grew up between three small towns in the middle of a swamp, right? And it was an estate area, so it was all raised up, but I mean, all around it is swamp, and then wilderness, and then there's three tiny little towns. So, and this is before cable television even. So, what do you do as a child? Well, you go out and you explore, right? And in the winter, you go out cross country skiing, go across the frozen swamps, go see what's outside. And, I was always interested in being outdoors because of that. And then when I get told I don't hike right, I'm like, okay. When I finally get out of the relationship, I'm allowed to go, you know what? I enjoy hiking. I always did. I did it all the time when I was a child. I'm going to go do that. It's giving yourself the permission to enjoy the things that you know that you love without judgment. Because what do you think? You're going to judge yourself? Like, oh, you're not hiking, right, buddy? Like, no. You're
Right?
just going to go and do it. What's hiking? It's a walk in the woods or up a mountain or in a field, wherever.
And
You
we
can't
are
screw it
our
up.
own worst critics anyway, so we don't really need someone else criticizing us.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if every day, like, let's say that we're together and you cook food for me, right? And I went to cooking school for 3 years. I probably know more about it than you do. But if every single day I told you, like, that's not how you do it this way, that just demeans you and makes you not want to do it anymore. So you kind of got to be careful with the way that you approach things. I might know a better way, but do I have to constantly criticize you for trying it your own way? Even if I think I'm helping, I'm really not.
I guess it can become kind of discouraging.
Yeah, right? Because you're not letting your partner do the thing that they want to do. Right? And that's what we're talking about. Remember I said 2 notes? I only remember 1. I said there was 3, and I only remember 2 at the time. Now it's down to 1. One of them is communication. One thing you have to remember with men, we suck at communication. Yeah, our brains are physically not wired for it. We really, really, really have to be told shit constantly, and you have to spell it out because we don't get when we're screwing something up. So something like that, you have to tell us that we're picking the wrong words. Otherwise, we're never going to get it. And we're just going to make you feel worse and worse and worse. And sometimes I wonder, with more dominant women, maybe it's they have more of a masculine style of brain. Like, there's physical differences. If you cut open a brain, you can tell if it was a male or a female without the body attached. So I wonder if that's maybe one of those things, is that the more dominant a woman is, the more masculine her brain is, and therefore they lose that ability to communicate effectively.
And women naturally, we're naturally born to be feminine. I had a dream about this a while back. And what happens is, when we're put in survival mode, we become more masculine and dominant. And then it takes a lot to get us back into that femininity that we need. Because if a woman that's been dominant and masculine for so long gets back into another relationship, then she's going to have a hard time relating to her masculine significant other. So, and then it also makes it hard for him to be in his masculinity if she's always putting the pants on. You know what I mean? So it can cause a lot of conflict in a relationship that really wouldn't have had conflict had she been able to be in her femininity and him be in his masculinity.
Yeah, but you don't want the
from-
toxic masculinity, right? That's
No.
what you're trying to avoid.
Correct. And there's also toxic femininity.
Yep, there is.
There
Because I've been in
is.
those positions where I get like really annoyed when somebody is insanely submissive to me. I'm like, I'm not your boss. I'm supposed to be your partner, right? Like, stand up for what you want. Tell me what you want. Don't make me make all the choices because that's no fun. I
Well,
ended up with a peach.
there is some women that prefer that that type of masculinity, but those are women of more of age than the younger women. The younger, I guess, the younger generation or generations, the women are more vocal about their wants and their needs, where the older generations, they're more submissive.
Mm-hmm. I ended up with a peach bedroom because my wife told me, like, this is, I want to paint it this color. I'm like, okay. So we painted it that color, and then she started crying, and she's like, I hate it. You must hate me. I'm like, why would I hate you? Like, you don't like it, let's repaint it, babe. Like, I don't give a shit.
I did that once. So speaking of painting rooms funny colors, I'll tell you a really funny story. Well, I guess it wasn't funny at the time, but it was funny to me after. So my ex had an affair, and he had to be deployed. And so when he came back from deployment, the bedroom was painted black, gray and pink, and had all pink linens. um, so the next time I had to leave town and he brought his little girlfriend over, she would have to sleep with him in a gray and pink room.
Jeez.
I thought it was quite funny. At the time, it was my way of, I guess, lashing out,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat discreetly, I guess, without really him knowing why I was doing it. But yeah. So you remember back in the day when there was like sponge painting, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I had gray and pink paint, and so I just basically sponge painted, so it looked kind of like a stonewall sponge painted bedroom. Yeah. I was young. Okay, I was young.
You're still young.
But again, that was when you're with someone for a long time that has had a lot of mental control,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been the submissive one, and a lot of us women, we make that mistake by handing over that control and saying, here, you have control and I'll just be the submissive one. uh, you don't know how to really say, that's not right, I'm not staying in this relationship. No, the women will stay because that's your provider. That's who you look up to, that person. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you have them on a pedestal of some sort, and it can become emotionally damaging in the long run.
Yeah, that can be dangerous because you're giving someone who doesn't know how to handle it too much power.
Right. Exactly.
Like I think my first real manager job was in my 20s. Like, I'm very used to being the one in control at work, but when I come home, like, I don't want to boss you around. You're not my employee.
I think that happens a lot in law enforcement too, where officers, they're at work being bossy all the time, and or like lawyers, where they have a tendency to argue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you remembering that I used to work at a law firm?
No, I
Oh,
didn't. Wow. You
because I
used to
always
work
get
at a law
asked, like,
firm,
why
eh?
don't you want to date the lawyers? I'm like, because I don't want to date somebody who argues for a living. Give me a break.
They might win.
They probably would. I don't want to fight when I get home. It's not my thing.
You're like, why do you have to use those big words with me right now? Welcome in, Arctic Wolf. It's good to see you. Long time no see.
Hey,
So,
Timberwolf.
we can, I can go over some of these self-care tips and address some issues. So, for instance, if the problem is the difficulty in setting boundaries, survivors of IPV often struggle with establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries due to the emotional manipulation and coercion and the control they experience. The abusive partner may have normalized boundaries violations, leaving survivors feeling unsure of the right to say no or to protect their personal space. So to start setting up a healthy boundary would be by start gradually establishing boundaries with yourself and others. This can be simply by just learning to just say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no a lot. When you need, it's okay to say no. And then when you need or to take time for yourself, you can do that without guilt. You can set clear limits around who you allow in your life and how you allow them to treat you. Boundaries are a powerful tool for reclaiming your autonomy. The act of defining your limits is an essential step in taking back the power of life. And I've had to explain boundary systems to quite a few people, and that it's okay to say no. It's okay to, I mean, shoot, you're allowed, even if you're a married couple, a woman is allowed to say no in the bedroom just as well as men can. Like there's some men that are just be like, I'm just not in the mood. And the woman, if it's she's like, the more dominating, violent woman, um, she can take serious offense to it. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by chat. I need to not do that all the time. Building, I do. Um, so also building support systems around you. And a lot of times when you're in an abusive relationship, you will become like segregated from your past support system, whether it's family, friends, etc. And again, that's part of the setting boundaries part of saying, hey, I'm not going to give up my friendship unless you know that it's like you were explaining yesterday, that if you know that that relationship that she had with her friends was not a healthy relationship, then that's understandable. But like a typical like relationships with your parents, siblings, you need to be able to keep those healthy relationships. If they're not healthy, then that's understandable because there is some family members that can be very toxic. Um, so not being isolated from your support system. So IPV often leads to survivors feeling isolated or cut off from supportive relationships, either because of the abusive partner intentionally alienates them from others, or because the survivor has internalized their feelings of shame and unworthiness. Many survivors report the isolation worsens with their mental health system uh, symptoms. So if we don't learn to handle certain situations as they arise, then in the long term, it can affect our mental health, and then we'll carry that with us into another relationship. So that can also become, you know, dangerous to future relationships because then you have all this excess baggage of pain, hurt, and the feeling of being like demeaned. And so
Yeah, and
then
you
it's
end up with a hair trigger too.
exactly, exactly. Um, Surround yourself with supportive people. Seek out relationships that are affirming and supportive, whether it's close friends, family members, other survivors in the community. Find people who validate your experience and encourage your healing. Survivors who have strong social support are 65% more likely to recover from anxiety and depression. Also, find local support groups or online support groups where you can connect with others who have faced similar experiences and you can share your story. You can receive guidance and healing. Connection with others can remind you that you're not alone and you're not on the journey alone. We have mindfulness, problems of hypervigilance. That's my favorite word. I'm not paranoid, I'm just hypervigilant. So hypervigilance and anxiety. IPV often leads survivors to feeling isolated and cut off from their supportive relationships, either because the abusive partner is intentionally alienated them from others or because the survivor has internalized their feelings of shame and unworthiness. Many survivors report that isolation worsens their mental health, and I have to agree with that because I did not get help in the beginning. I did carry it with me for longer than I should have, to the point where I became extremely hypervigilant. Um, Practicing mindful and grounding techniques, engage in mindful exercises that help you focus on the present moment. Have you learned the technique, where they used to go USA when you would be stressed out? So it's also very similar. They have like tapping techniques to reground yourself when you're going through stress and anxiety.
One of the things I used to teach people about pool, which is an extremely mental game, was if they're in the middle of a shot and they're getting nervous and they're overthinking, and I can see them do it, and they start moving around, I'm like, how do your feet feel right now? And they would look at me and like, what? Like, what the hell does this have to do with me putting a ball in a pocket? Tell me how your feet feel right now. Are your shoes tight? Are they hot? Are they cold? You comfortable? Does your back hurt? And they're like, oh yeah, this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden they're still and they can shoot. What you have to remember about a human brain is it's very narrow band. It can only do one thing at a time. Everybody says like, oh, I multitask. You don't. What you do is you jump threads, but you can only have one open thread of thought at a time. You can't actually figure something out while you're having a meaningful conversation with another person. It doesn't work.
You're not
Your
present.
brain is not, your brain's physically not capable of it. It's not wired that way. So, tapping, anything that you can do to get your brain to focus on something, even if it's something as simple as tapping on a table, it will, as long as you pay attention to that feeling, how does that feel on my finger? And you actually think about it. How does that feel? How does that feel? You'll stop thinking about the other thing because your brain can't do the two things at once. That's why those kind of techniques actually work.
That's very similar with pain. You can have multiple pains, but a lot of times, say you have back pain and then you go get dental work done. Now you have teeth pain, then your back don't hurt as much.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's deep breathing techniques, progressive muscle relaxation, the tapping thing. If you notice, like if you ever watch true crime, sometimes like they'll rub their fingers, and that's like a soothing mechanism while they're either on the stand or they're listening to someone in the witness box, like the defendant. You'll see them like rubbing their hands or their fingers or whatnot. They'll start fidgeting, and that's like the antsy thing that you're talking about, where they get nervous and their mind is racing. There's other grounding techniques like just focusing on just breathing. You can rub your ears. I like the tapping thing when you have anxiety. They'll explain it to you. Well, a psychologist can explain it to you. Like they'll say, like, just hone in on one subject, like something on the wall, and then just kind of focus on that and slow breathing, and that kind of helps bring the anxiety back down.
Yeah, I agree with all of that because I've told people to do all of those things in different situations.
Anxiety is a scary thing because when you first have it and you've never had it, you're just like, oh my gosh, am I having a heart attack? Like, it's just
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, when you see it in a person, if I see you tapping on a table while I'm saying something to you, I'm going to look at it and go, okay, something is wrong here. But I've been through some different things and I have interacted with different people. I kind of notice these things. A lot of people don't. And that's where that communication thing comes in with men. You got to you have to explain it to us like we're 5 because we don't. And they're like, I told you so many different ways. No, you didn't, because you didn't use words. We need direct, like, I'm upset about this. This is the reason why. But there's an
Did you
old joke.
notice how you said that? You said it in a manner that was not to put the other person on the defensive.
Yeah.
Instead of you saying like, I'm upset because you did this, you said it in a manner that was more receiving to the other person so they would not immediately go on the defensive.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've just been in too many, like, way too many fights, and then having to do court for a long time. That's what it is. It's like, this is the reason why you're wrong, and it's like, that's not a fair thing to say.
Right.
Maybe a more fair thing might be like, this is why you might feel that way, or how did that make you feel at the time? Because you can't assume the other person's thought. Like, why did that make them angry? You can't say that. That's called hearsay. Because I can't assume your
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
So you have to be real careful with it. And I think having done that for a long time, you kind of learn to reframe most experiences in a good, healthy way. And unfortunately, most people don't take debate. They don't know how to look at it from the other side. Especially men, we need to learn how to do that. We learn how to argue, but we do that on the playground. We don't do it in the classroom. But arguing is not the same thing as debating somebody, which is like, if I put myself in Pinky's position, how would I feel if she was saying what I just said to me? Wow, I'm kind of an asshole, right?
Right.
All of a sudden the light turns on, but you have to learn that. And I'm not saying all men are bad by any means, because I am a man and I have done stupid things. Like, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I have learned to accept the fact that, yeah, sometimes I say things the wrong way, but I did take debate. I did work in the court system. I did have to learn these things. And it kind of opens your eyes to, this is maybe why she's tapping her fingers on the desk. She's getting pissed off. Why is she getting pissed off? Maybe
Right.
instead of guessing, I should just ask her. Because women love to tell you.
Women love to talk where men internalize things.
Yep.
Matter
This
of
is the
fact, it
best way
says
to talk to a female is to talk.
so. It says that a study found that mindfulness reduced symptoms in 60 to 70% of trauma survivors. So them learning how to deal with um, their stress and their anxiety reduced the symptoms of anxiety by 60 to 70%. Physical activity, just getting out doing stuff, like you said, like you mentioned that you got to go back to doing things that you enjoyed. Um, Physical activity can reduce a lot of stress on the human body. And the stress on the human body alone is so damaging. It raises your cortisol levels. It can make you gain weight. It can just tear up your kidneys, your liver, your heart. Um, they say people can't die of a broken heart, but in all actuality, you really can. Just that the stress alone that you put on yourself when you're in those types of situations is very damaging. So this article states that IPV survivors often experience both emotional and physical tension that can manifest as headaches, fatigue, muscle pain, sleep disruptions. Trauma can take control of the total body, creating a sense of heaviness, discomfort from day to day life. Engaging in physical activity, exercise is a powerful tool to releasing both physical and emotional tension, whether it's a gentle walk in nature, yoga, dancing, dancing in your living room. Moving your body helps release that pent up stress and activates and releases the feel good hormones like endorphins. For survivors of inter, ah, intimate partner violence, physical activity can reduce symptoms of depression up to 30%. So can the morning sun. offering a tangible way to begin healing. The key is to find movements that feel nurturing and empowering for your body, and always remember that even small steps forward are significant. Are you still there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just being quiet so you can speak.
Let's see. You said broken heart syndrome, a temporary heart condition. Extreme emotional, physical stress causes the heart muscle and weakens it. Yes, it's like chest pain, shortness of breath, and mimic. It does. It does. Anxiety does feel like that so much.
I think people got. I think people woke up to it when they watched The Matrix, because there was that near the start of it, right, where he takes them out of the Matrix and then reintroduces him to it, sitting in a big red padded chair. This is what is the real world. If you think about it, it's what you can taste, touch, see, smell, and hear. But what are those things? Those are electrical impulses delivered by your brain. The thing is that you can feel so much pain in your heart, you can literally kill yourself. My grandfather was perfectly healthy, and when his wife died, my grandmother, he died within 6 months. He instantly had stage 4 cancer, which makes
Wow.
0 sense. But it took 6 months for him to go from healthy to stage 4 cancer and die because he was so heartbroken.
Wow. That's just terrible.
It is
But
and it isn't. It's.
but he missed her. That was the love of his life,
Yeah.
So I mean, when you love someone that much, that's understandable that he would feel so lost and alone and just and if we don't have that support system around us, then we tend to dwell on things, and then most likely that's what happened. He just dwelled on it and dwelled on it until it kind of like just overtook him.
Mhm.
Let's see. It says number 5 says thoughts and emotions. Problem is suppressing emotions and overwhelming thoughts, which is very unhealthy. We should not do that. After experiencing IPV, many survivors struggle to process or express their emotions, especially when they have been manipulated or gaslit. Survivors may feel overwhelmed or by sadness, anger, shame, confusion, and may find it difficult to talk about their experience. And depending on what that experience was, yes, especially with children, it's very difficult for them to open back up after they feel that they're um, what they thought once was safe is no longer safe. Um, a tip would be to journal your thoughts and your emotions, or you could find someone that you can express those thoughts and emotions to in a safe environment. Writing allows you to express your feelings that may be difficult to not to say out loud. It can be intimate, private way. It can be an intimate and private way to process your trauma and track your emotional healing. Journaling helps survivors make sense of their feelings, release pent-up emotions, and even set intentions for recovery. Studies show that expressive writing reduces PTSD and anxiety symptoms in trauma survivors by allowing them to externalize their emotions. And I did a lot of writing when I was going through what I was going through. And I had a notebook and I would just write down random thoughts and I would go back and read it and be like, this like makes no sense. But at the time to me, it it made sense. But when your brain is under that kind of trauma, it's like I explained it today. It's like there's marbles in your head and people could be talking, but it's like someone's shaking marbles at the same time. So you can hear people, but you don't always understand them because you have other noise going on, and trauma causes that other noise. And there's things like, you know, ADHD that does something very similar where you have like a lot of extra noise going on in your head and it's hard to convey clear thoughts and emotions.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. The reason journaling works is the same thing I just talked about. Is like you can't type out your thoughts. It doesn't work the same way. You have to handwrite them. The reason it works is that one track mind that we all have. And if you are concentrating on writing something down, you're not off in space imagining this, that, or the other. You're concentrating on writing down your thoughts. That's why journaling works. So even if you think it's like some stupid, floofy idea that, oh God, like, why would I want to keep, oh, dear diary? Like, that's stupid. That's what kids do. The reason it actually does work is that your brain can only do one thing at a time. So give it something to do. In different religions, they call it the monkey mind. And the solution for the monkey mind, which is, look here, look there, look there, look there, look over there, look there. Your mind's always looking for a threat, whether the threat is real or imagined. Oh my God, he's going to come back and beat the crap out of me. Or, oh my God, what is she doing now? What do you do with that monkey? Give it a pole to climb. What is that pole? The pole that the monkey climbs could be as simple as writing something down. This is how I feel in this minute. And then when you get stressed out, or maybe not, like it depends on you, everybody's different, but you go back and you reread like, oh wow, that's where I was. That's what was going on in my head in that bad moment. Some people don't ever look back on their notes. It doesn't matter. Just write it down because it gives you something to do. It gives you that escape.
Yeah, I have to agree. And some of this stuff that I went back and read that I wrote made zero sense. I mean, it made sense, but it would be like these 2-sentence statements. It wasn't like a whole story of what my mind was thinking. It would be like 2 or 3 little sentence statements that are just like, wow, where was my mind at that time? But that's that in-depth. It's your brain trying to make sense of a situation that doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, but you're trying to rationalize it in your brain to make it make sense. Like,
The
why
other
would someone do this?
Well, the other wonderful thing it does is instead of avoiding your problems, right, which is what you talked about before,
Mhm.
what writing it down does is it lets you work through it. This is how I feel at this moment, is where you start. Right? As stupid as it sounds, you sit down, you could be in the car in a parking lot outside before you have to go in for a meeting. Write down, why am I nervous? Okay. The thing I'm most afraid of is that they're going to look at me like I'm a fool. Good, that's on paper now. Your brain is now following that path. It's completing the thought because your brain likes to work in patterns. This is how all the stuff wonderfully works. And it's so simple. But because of that stupid phrase, dear diary, people don't want to do it. But like I'm telling you, it will fix an awful lot of stuff. So I
I
mean,
do I do believe they also have techniques like that in like the 12-step programs for alcoholism or anything that has trauma um, connected to it. I do believe they have you journaling to help get things off your chest, off your mind, so that you can focus on managing it.
yeah, and as a guy, it's really hard to open up to people and say, "This is what I'm really feeling right now." This is a good alternative. It really
Mhm.
is,
And
because
men
at least
are
you can be honest.
internalizers.
Yeah, we are. We're terrible at it. That's why men's suicide rates are so much higher because we have no outlet. We can't trust because we're all predators, right? At the biological level, that's what we are. Men are predators. We can't show weakness to another predator because now we're in a weaker state. right? And that's the scariest thing in the world. And you won't be able to put words to it at the time. You'll just say, "Oh, I don't really want to talk about it." That's about the entirety of that conversation. I don't want to talk about it, or I just want to stay home tonight. This is an easy. You don't have to make yourself vulnerable to another person yet. Deal with it this way. When you get there, then you can have a conversation with somebody. So I could sit down with you and I could cry my eyes out if I was hurting right now. What we would do it in private. I wouldn't do it in public because not everybody needs to know that, right? But I'm fairly comfortable with who I am.
Right.
If you're not, as a man, if you're not there yet, these are some steps you could take.
There is some men that are better at communication as far as their feelings, and sometimes that, how do I explain that? They're better versed in being able to express their feelings, and then there's men that are not very versed in expressing their feelings, or maybe they are, but they're just not in the right position or place in life that they feel safe to do so. So when I went to that conference, I think it was last week and a half ago, when I went to the conference, one of the classes I took, I mentioned that it was, men that had been abused. And he explained that men have to feel safe. And the best thing that a partner can do is help their significant other feel safe to where they can express their emotions or their feelings. Because men internalize their emotions, they are more apt to being blocked off from expressing it or saying, "Hey, this has been bothering me at work," or um, this A, B, and C happen, and then they end up, if they don't feel safe with their partner, then that's how a lot of external relationships get built, because they will find someone that they can um, bring those emotions out to, or issues to, that they do feel safe with, and then you end up with emotional affairs, um, all sorts of entanglements that end up destroying relationships or end up in violence. So it's women need to be able to understand men and give them a safe place to be able to express themselves. As I was explained to, they said men have two modes. Typically, they have their happy mode, and then they have an anger mode. And it's really the only two emotions that men can um, externalize, because everything else is internalized. I guess for as a woman, we look at men, especially when we're young, we're like, why don't you just, explain to us or talk to us? Like, we don't understand that. And so we're just like, well, tell us about your day. And men are like, it was fine. They're not very vocal about it because they're not as good as expressing it, or they have not been put in a position to where they feel safe to express their emotions, or taught not to. That can be another issue, where men are taught not to be vulnerable because they are supposed to be predators.
Yeah. Well, how do I come home from work? And you asked me how my day was. Do you want to hear that I watched a small child have a soother replaced and a guy stuck his private parts in the baby's mouth and made the baby choke when he came? Do you really want to discuss that? You know what I mean? Like, there's some jobs, some things, it's like, I don't know. I can do it now because I'm distant from it. Like, I walked away from the job because I can't do this anymore. I can't watch this much hatred. But at the time, it's like, how was my day? It was fine, hon.
Did they offer like therapy and counseling? I know they do. Uh, in the recent last 15 years or so, they started offering like therapy and counseling to like law enforcement and people in that department, you know, where they can get help for dealing with high stress, high trauma jobs.
There is, but there's also a massive stigma against taking it.
Mm.
Like, oh, I know why you're going to Roberta's office. And it's
Right?
like, really? Like, really? Do you know what it's like to look at 100,000 pages of horrible text messages somebody sent to a 9-year-old girl? Do you know what it's like to go through a video frame by frame and having to prove that each frame is authentic and not doctored? Do you know how many
Right.
times I've had to watch this shit? Do you think the jury's uncomfortable? How the hell do you think I feel? And then I get questioned on it. Like, oh, like, do you actually have the credentials to prove this? Like, Jesus, like, just, you know what? Can I go now?
Right. Or they ridicule you, telling you that you're not qualified to make that justified decision on if this is validated evidence or not, you know?
Yeah.
And you're just like, why am I here? You know? Why is this person? And I understand it, I get it. And that's one of the reasons I was like, I could never be a defense lawyer. I would have to be prosecution. I would have to be prosecution because there's no way in God's creation could I defend somebody if I had an inkling that they were guilty. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I don't know. I would never make money. I couldn't.
Like I said, yeah, they're trained to argue for a living. So
There was a movie, The Devil's Advocate.
mhm,
Have you seen it?
I have.
And yeah, it's crazy. And no matter which way Keanu Reeves went, whether it was towards the good or towards the making money, it was still going to be the wrong decision. He wasn't going to win either way.
Well, it
Was
feels like that. Like most of the stuff that I looked at was like people cheating on each other. Um, Thankfully, it wasn't that often that I had to look at cases of child abuse, but yeah, they do come up, and
There's a
yeah, I
lot of
just
it going on right now too, just in the news.
it's always been going on. That's the thing. People make a mistake of thinking, well, the news is focusing on it, therefore there's more of it. It's not. That's not how it is. It's always been going on. Now we just share it more.
Hmm.
Now there are online groups where you can share you abusing your own child or someone else's and selling and buying people.
Yeah.
And it's just normalized in society because they see so much of it. They're like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine that, Andrew Tate got pardoned and brought back to the U.S. No, he's an actual piece of crap.
That's a
But like,
case I haven't reviewed.
yeah, he's garbage. He has
Wasn't his
good
girlfriend
messages
his
for
girlfriend was
men
like
being.
16 or something that he brought from overseas.
He's just the whole way he looks at women. Like, you're useless. You're here to serve me. That's not how you look at another human.
Right.
I don't care how male you are. You're gorgeous, but you're not a gorgeous piece of meat. You know what I mean? Like, there's a huge difference between those two things.
Right.
I can respectfully look at somebody and say, you're attractive. And I can look at somebody else and say, you're really intelligent. That's attractive to me. And I can look at someone else and say, like, you're really talented and that's attractive to me. But you're not all just pieces of meat that serve me because I'm the man. That's toxic.
And I
That's
think
what masculinity is.
that's his what is the word? It's oh my gosh, I can't remember. It starts with an M. His very extreme masculine side where women have to bow down to him.
A masochist?
No, not masochist. It's Someone in chat may know. It's
Manipulating.
I can't remember what it is, but it's a very different type of way of life. Like, I mean, and he wasn't even raised really that way, I don't think, because he was raised by his mother. So I think he just got a really big head and decided that he was just gonna own his women. I don't know. It's crazy though. He probably wouldn't have any front teeth if he was around me. You said what? I gotta do what? Eat this. Yeah. Okay, so self-care tip. We'll forget Inky said that. Self-care tip, domestic violence, right? Practice compassionate self-talk. Challenge the harmful thoughts that may have been planted in your mind during the abusive relationship. Remind yourself daily that the abuse was not your fault. Engage in positive self-talk using affirmations such as "I am worthy of love and respect." Or if not, you get the bat. Okay, just kidding. I am strong and capable of healing. Healing requires patience and self compassion. A study found that survivors who practiced self compassion experienced lower levels of PTSD and depression. Watcher, you're welcome to come up, love, if you like. Here. We are discussing ways on how we are dealing with or have dealt with um, healing after trauma. Creative outlets is so if you're having difficulty expressing your emotions, finding creative ways to let those outlets out. Creative activities like art, music, writing, again, journaling, can serve as an emotional outlet for survivors who find it difficult to express their feelings. Studies show that art therapy can reduce symptoms of PTSD and anxiety up to 50%. They also have animal therapy, pet therapy. You can get a pet PTSD puppy. Oh my goodness, Watcher, thank you so much. She's such a doll. I love you long time.
She is.
She's so cute. Um, these outlets allow survivors to explore their emotions in nonverbal ways and reestablish their sense of self. Creative expression can help reconnect survivors with their inner strengths and rediscover joy and happiness. Well, you have a wonderful night time. And if you get to go see your donkeys and little moo-moos, you gotta give them little moo-moo kisses for me. I'm so jealous. You should have seen her cute little. She had these little donkeys on her show, and they were just so adorable. And last time I was traveling, I sent her a couple of pictures of some wild donkeys, and he stuck his head in the vehicle, and I was like, oh, yeah. At first, I was videoing from a distance, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I could feed him something to get him to come over, and he just came right over and stuck his little head in the car, and I was like, oh my gosh, his head's in the car. Yeah, it was great. And then I got to see some wild horses. Um, they were walking along, and I had went down onto the shoreline, and they had came all the way down to the little shoreline, came all the way up to me, and my dog was barking and stuff, and they ran off. And then we got a little video of they were like fighting, and when horses fight, they kind of paw, I guess, like, they paw like this. And it was a cute little picture. It's like they're like making a heart because they're both pawing it. It was freaking adorable. It was freaking great.
So
Go ahead.
that was kind of funny. I'm trying to find the right way to word it. Because I don't want everything to be about me. That comes out of me.
Well, just remember, you're not alone. If you or someone you love is in need of support, just put out your hand.
Oh, I do love support.
Be a listening ear.
Yeah. That helps a lot.
No sleep till Monday. No sleep till Brooklyn.
Okay, what this was a thing that I had with somebody I dated. I'm like, do you have any hobbies at all?
They said that, or
Because
are you asking me?
no, I said it to them because I'm like you gotta have something else besides going on streams, getting loaded and taking your clothes off. Like you have to have some kind of a hobby. Because when you whine and complain that, oh, this person is online and that person's not there, and what do I do now? I'm like, do you not have a hobby? Because I was like, I got frustrated.
Like they didn't
So,
like
like,
going out hiking and stuff with you?
no, not at all. They, very, I'm staying home. I'm doing this thing. I can't do that because of this, that, and the other, and always an excuse. But like, so you you don't have to go outside to have a hobby, right? But how did you figure out what your hobbies were, or what things interested you? Like, how did you do that?
Wow. I love being outside. I want to get this it's like a blow up canoe thing, like a knee paddleboard type doodad. I want to get one of those before the warmest weather is over and try it out. It's like kind of like canoeing, but you like kneel on it. It's not like a bucket you sit in.
So an inflatable kayak or an inflatable
Yeah, yeah,
surfboard?
yeah. It's an inflatable kayak.
Mhm.
I want
I
to
have
try
a
one of
hard
those so bad.
I have a hard kayak, like a sea kayak.
Like for like the ocean.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I've never done that. I've been canoeing once, and I think I was like 9 years old, and I've been really, really, really wanting to try kayaking.
Now you're gonna go make me find a picture. Dag nabbit.
Well, I was at the lake, and this lady, she pulled this thing out of her car, and it was hard, but she also blew it up, so it was like hard and soft. It was like foldable, and her and her little dog got on there, and they were like doop, 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 out in the water, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun. But I guess also because I felt like such poop for the last couple of years. Now I have like this energy, and I'm just like, I just want to use it. Like I just want to like go out and try things I've never tried before. You know, nothing crazy insane, but I have you seen those little things like they're like these like little rockets they put on your feet, and it blows the water out, and they're over the water. It's like little water rockets.
Maybe I might be thinking of something else. So I'll just go with maybe.
So it's like they have this little thing they stand on, and it takes and it sucks up the water, and it blows it out their feet, so
Hmm.
they go up in the air.
Yeah.
I seen that too the other day, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that looks like so much fun," but yet I would be so scared to try that one.
Boink. There you go. That's my kayak.
Aw, so colorful.
In
N
my backyard.
So now is that the one you stand on, or do you sit on that?
You sit in it.
Oh, you sit in it.
Yeah. 16 and a half feet long.
So what's the one that you kind of put your knees on?
That'd be a
Or is that
stand-up paddleboard.
oh. So now the doggies can ride in the kayak too. How many people can sit in a kayak?
They have one person and they have two-person kayaks. The problem with two-person kayaks is if you lose that other person, like if you're dating, right, and then suddenly you're not dating that person anymore, two-person kayaks are really hard to handle with one person.
Really?
Yeah, because the center of gravity in it is split between the two people. So either the bow wants to dip or the stern wants to dip.
Hmm.
And it makes it very hard to control. And that can be very dangerous in the water. So
Very
like that
interesting.
picture is like in July. Like where I live on the Continental Divide. Like there's snow all year round in the mountains. The water maybe gets to 50 degrees, maybe, on a really hot year. Like if you go in the water, you're going to freeze. You will get hypothermia. You really don't want to be in a boat that's unstable. So,
So do you have to
yeah,
kayak with like a wetsuit on?
I have a dry suit. It's too cold for a wetsuit.
Mm.
Because if you dive down, once you get below about 100 feet, you're looking at 30-degree water temperature.
Wow.
And the only reason it's not frozen is there's so much pressure from the top. But yeah, it's freezing cold.
Very interesting. You know, that reminds me of Tahoe. Tahoe is like that too, where they almost have snow year round.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have snow except for in like maybe July, August, and September. And then it's back to having snow.
I've seen snow in every single month of the year.
Wow. Now at the very peaks of the mountains up there, yes, there's always like a little bit of a snow cap up there. It's very interesting to see. Like one year it was snowing on Father's Day, and I'm like, this is the middle of freaking June. It's freaking snowing. You know, pretty crazy. Storm Rush, you're back. If you go to Storm Rush's page, you can see quite a few of those amazing little mesocell storms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty cool. There's some good videos on there. Wow, I really do want to try that sometime. The whole canoeing, kayak thing, boarding thing.
Wear a PFD is all I could say. Because, yeah, when you get in the water, all of a sudden, it can be dangerous. So you get the cold shock, you gasp, which means you inhale. If you go under and you gasp and inhale, you inhale water. Then you're thinking about choking. You know, it can be very dangerous. So yeah, wear a PFD, and everybody gets tired in cold water. So
now, is that like a river or is that like a lake?
that's the Montana border.
Oh, that's right.
On a lake. And I don't remember, but I think the mountains are 8,000 feet tall above where you're sitting in the lake.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the elevation up there? It's got to be, isn't that like high desert also?
Yeah, I'm 4,000 feet above sea level sitting in my chair.
Wow. So it is like by like the Sierras.
Yeah.
Wow, it's very pretty. It reminds me a lot of like the Tahoe. I love those little Christmas trees, cedar trees, whatever they are. Spruce trees. I don't know.
Spruce and pine, yeah.
I call them Christmas trees. They all look like Christmas trees.
I have a big one in my front yard. I need to kill it, and I don't want to.
Why? Is it like dying or is it just in the way?
It's partially dying, and its roots are underneath my house. It's starting to crack the foundation, so I have to remove it. And I don't want to kill a living thing. I'm a big softie. Because the plant hasn't done anything wrong except live its life, and I'm like, now I have to punish you for being alive. And I kind of feel like a jackass for doing it, but that's just who I am. You know, that's
well,
my heart.
It sucks that you can't remodel and just take that little section of the foundation out for the tree and then kind of add on somewhere else to the house.
Yeah, just move my house.
Oh,
hello, neighbors. I'm just taking over your land.
Oh my gosh. I was going down the road the other day And I saw a whole house being moved, like a whole
Mhm.
normal house, stick built house. It was like it took up all the lanes and they were just trucking it down the road. And I was like, man, someone must have really liked that house because they're moving
Mm.
the whole house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
no, like
thank
where
go
I'm
ahead.
at, we have really shallow basements because it's solid granite because it's the mountains. If I go any further west, there's no basements because you have to blast them out
Oh, wow.
because like, there's nothing there except solid rock.
You could always have a house in the mountain. Those are pretty
Usually
cool.
they're modular homes is what they get because you have to have a slab foundation.
Mm. I think the house that they were moving, it could have been off of a slab foundation, but it looked like it used to be maybe on pier and beam.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe it though. I was just like, oh my gosh, that's a whole house going down the road. Anyways, I better jump off here. I appreciate you being up here with me so much. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Anytime.
And I'll probably jump on maybe tomorrow or the next day. I'm gonna be doing a little trip, so I'll probably be doing a couple of travel vlogs or travel uh, streams. People love sightseeing and it's so fun. So
Yep.
I'll probably be doing that.
All right. Well, thank you for the
And
company.
thank you. And maybe we'll have it like I'll have to think of something nifty to come up to talk about, something other than DV essay stuff. Self healing, health, and you know,
I'm
just just
here.
just
I'm here to serve what your channel makes videos about. So if I
well,
have something to offer, I will join it. If not, I will hang out in the chat and chat.
thank you, and feel free to drop your channel link in the chat if you like. If Watcher was there, I would drop hers. I might be able to do it from my device and Storm Rushes. Um, I have to figure out how to do it. Oh, go to channel, share.
Yeah,
I haven't done this stuff in so long. Oh my goodness, I feel like such a newbie.
it's okay. I mean, I'm judging you right now. I've actually got a scorecard right here, so I'm just checking off boxes.
Copy. Okay, I gotta go back now. And then I can paste. And then
There you go.
go to channel. Let's see. Copy. I'm trying. It's a learning curve being back.
Hey, no one expects you to be perfect.
So, and every time I come on StreamYard, it's something different. Like the whole setup is different.
Mhm.
It's like, what does this button do? But anyways, thank you so much, hon. And thank
Of
you for
course.
those that are still hanging out and chat with us. I appreciate you all. You all have a wonderful evening. Night night, TPR.
All right, night.